Okay, so if you can see from the title, I'm doing a deck intro today. I realize it's been 6 years since I last did English Duel Master deck intro. And I know that English Duel Masters are pretty rare now, so I hope for those that are still playing, this could be a trip down memory lane. If you see from the title, it's a Soulswap Bolmeteus Steel Dragon deck, which is very enticing. Soulswap is one of the most popular cards in the DM TCG series. I'm going to intro a 50 card deck. It's water, nature, and fire. Okay, so it's going to be a one take. The production value is close to zero, but I hope that this brings some joy for any Duel Master fans or collectors around the world that are watching this. Okay, so for 50 card deck, we'll start first with the nature cards. So for nature cards, I think ramping up mana is very important. It's a 50 card deck, so I'll just go through the cards for each civilization. First off, 4 Bronze Arm Tribes, right? I think this is an essential. You need this for almost any nature deck just to ramp up. So 4, it's amazing. I chose Fairy Life as well. I put 3. So if you don't know the effect, it's a 2 mana shield trigger spell, which put the top card of your deck into the mana zone. I think it's a DM11 version. I find the artwork a lot nicer than the earlier version. Okay, I also have Hero Swine Snout, 3 of them. Actually a very underrated card. It's a common card, but very powerful. For each creature that is put into the battle zone, it gets plus 3000 power. So it's currently 2 mana 1000, but it increases. Very powerful card, great for early game. Okay, and then, of course, I did not lie, 3 Soulswaps, probably one of the most prized possession in English. I need to get them sleeved up today. But yes, I'll explain. Soulswap is the center of the deck. I'll explain it towards the end because it's just so good. Okay, those are all the nature cards. We go into water cards now. Because this deck usually thrives on late game, the early game needs to be very secure. So I like 2 Madrillian Fish. I know it's very random, but it's a good early blocker. 2 mana, 3000 blocker, just good for the early game. Of course, we need draws in this deck. Very effective draws. Aqua Hawkers, I think it's also a must in any deck, honestly. 3 mana, 2000, draw a card, 4 of them. Super important. Also, 4 energy streams, another very important card draw. 3 mana, draw 2 cards. Equally as important, super important for early game. I choose to run 1 Eureka Charger. I guess it helps with the ramp. Flood Valve, I have 1, which is 2 mana spell. You don't really see a lot. Shield trigger, return a card from your mana zone into your hand. I'll explain more later about Flood Valve. Okay, I also run 2 Spiral Gates, very good early clearance of large enemy minions back into their hand. Lastly, for water, 4 Coryll, 5 mana, 2000, choose a creature to put to the top of the opponent's deck. Opponent's creature. Honestly, I think it's a very underrated card. I used to consider this card to be pretty ineffective or very expensive, but I think playing for many years, I realized it's a super good card because you actually kind of nullify your opponent's next draw. I go a few rainbow cards because fire and nature. A Gonta, very powerful card. 5 mana, 2000. Destroy an opponent's creature that is blocker and put the top card of your deck into the mana zone. Good for Ram as well. Of course, early game, if you are able to put this out at turn 2 with a fire and nature card in your mana zone, go for it. Gonta, super amazing card. Can be played in aggro as well. Very good for establishing early game dominance. Okay, so now, as mentioned, this deck actually tries to fight for late game, and you try to ramp up, and that's the secret to this deck. You try to ramp up. Okay, but before we go into the late heavy hitters, maybe I'm going to the fire spells now. More for board clearance. So for example, burst shot, play 3. Destroy all creatures that are 2000 or less. Very good if it's in your shields. Could potentially save you from an early game destruction. Okay, I run 2 Volcano Charger, more for ramp as well. Destroy an opponent's creature that is 2000 or less. One of my favorite clearance cards, if not my favorite, Apocalypse Vice. Very powerful card. 7 mana, destroy, total power 8,000 or less. You can just imagine what you can do with this card. And now for the heavy hitters. First off, I think this is very important. Twin Cannon Sky Terror, double breaker, speed attacker, right? I think at 7 mana, you're just throwing this out to destroy your opponent. Of course, we have what is in the thumbnail, Bolmeteus Steel Dragon. I run 2. I feel this is more of for aesthetic than to really kill the opponent, but if you manage to get one hit, right, it's actually very powerful because the opponent's shield go into the graveyard instead of their hand, which is very important. But most of the time, it's just, I think it's more of just a flex, right? I think one of the most coveted cards in the TCG series. A card that I really like, I consider very underrated, is Scarlet Sky Terror. 8 mana, 3,000, destroy all creatures that have blocker, right? And because you don't run a lot of blockers, it's usually for your opponents, okay? And this is how it usually works. Now, I'll explain how this deck comes together. Most of the time, this is the most important card in the deck, Soulswap. Okay, it's a very long effect, and if you don't know, you can choose any creature from your opponent's mana zone or your mana zone, from their mana zone, put it into the battlefield, and then choose a card from the battlefield and put it back into their mana zone. Sorry, so it's the opposite, right? Okay, wait, let me read. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to read it because I realize I don't actually really know the effect from top of my head. So it's a 3 mana shield trigger. You may choose a creature in the battle zone and put it into the owner's mana zone. So it could be your own battle zone creature or your opponent's battle zone creature. And if you do, choose another creature, a non-evolution creature in that player mana zone that costs the same or less than the number of cards in the mana zone. That player puts that creature into the battle zone. Okay, so how does this work? Usually with this deck, you're going to ramp, I think you can ramp to 11, 12 mana pretty fast, right? And the early game is to put maybe a Scarlet Sky Terror, a Bolmeteus Steel Dragon, a Twin Cannon Sky Terror in your mana zone because you're not going to play it for the first few turns, right? And then when you're in the late game, maybe turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, right? When you have maybe a cheap creature on the board that you put at the start, you can soul swap that creature for maybe a Bolmeteus Steel Dragon or Twin Cannon Sky Terror. Or if your opponent has full of blockers, Scarlet Sky Terror, right? And what I love about Soul Swap is that you could do the same for an opponent's creature if you really want to. A very big blocker, right? You can just swap it for another creature in their mana zone. But always, almost always, these games are won with this deck, with Soul Swapping your own minions into the battle zone, right? So this is a great card. I think everybody knows how good this card is, how coveted this card is. And yeah, I think this is really a killer. Okay, so now I'm just going to recap the cards that I have in this deck. Okay, sorry, give me a while to arrange my cards. Yeah, and this is just a very spontaneous video. I suddenly thought about the decks that I have, and because today I plan to sleeve my cards up, I decided to just intro a deck that I have once again. Okay, now we start first with okay, let me zoom out. As you can see, it's a 50 card deck. Okay, so we start from here. Early game, Gontas are great. You also want to have some card draw in the early game. You want to ramp up, so you have Fairy Life, Winex, Bronze Arm Tribe, and even Hero Swine Stout just to establish early game board presence. And then in the late game, because you're going to ramp very fast, you could have board clearance like Apocalypse Vice, but the main heavy hitters are Twin Cannon Sky Terror, a Bolmeteus Steel Dragon, and a Scarlet Sky Terror. Yeah, this video is pretty poorly made. It's just a one take, no edits. I don't even know how the audio sounds. But yeah, I hope that this brings some joy to any Duel Master collectors or players that currently see this, right? Yeah, I know that English players are not a lot globally because it is a long, it's a thing of the past. English Duel Master cards. But yeah, if you have any decks or you still play, feel free to leave a comment down below. Okay, I'll see you next time.